I supported Obama because I thought he was an anti-war president, but with the recent events, I don't think he is. I think this is Bush 2.0, this is Iraq 2.0, weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons. It's the same thing happening again.
I feel another war is totally unnecessary. We just got pulled out of a so-called war that was based on lies. It took about 8 years for that to happen, and now we're about to waste more money for something that's unnecessary when we have cities like Detroit that are bankrupt.
There's no justification for this war at all. I mean, it's completely being orchestrated by America and by funding these rebel groups like the Free Syrian Army. The imperialists are using the rebel groups to exploit the Syrian people and us. There's no evidence that Assad used any chemical weapons on his people at all. It's entirely these rebel groups that are funded by America that every day it comes out more and more that these rebel groups are what's behind it all.
Us kind of invading another country's sovereign right to, kind of handle its own conflict is, against their right as a country. I mean, we recognize them as a country, so they need to handle their own problems. It's not like they come in or another country comes in and tells us what we're doing.
It's just classic imperialism,
The money that is being spent on these wars is ridiculous. I mean, we still have people here in Detroit, homeless people everywhere. Detroit just went bankrupt. You go to places like Skid Row in California and there's just hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of just homeless people. We could be using this towards, clinics for drug addiction or, maybe helping kids get a better education. I mean, a lot of countries you don't even have to pay books. When you're in college, pay for books when you're in college, and I'd like to not pay $500 for my book.
There are too many homeless people in this country, too many people going hungry, too many nonprofit organizations that aren't getting what they need from the government, and the money that we have as a country for this to be the country of where dreams come true and you can live the so-called American dream, it's not really happening.
Instead of bombing other countries, we could use the money for education, we could use the money for our public programs, we could use the money for healthcare, we could use the money for countless amounts of things that would benefit our people. We could benefit our poor people. We could stop treating our homeless people like they're the enemy and instead try to help them, because a country's only as good as it treats its least fortunate.
I think the money could be used towards other things. We have so much infrastructure problems in America. It could be put towards education, helping promote the general welfare of the American people. Instead, most of the money through war gets filled to the top and the people who make money off war. So I don't think we should be helping that system. I think we should be focusing on the people.
Detroit is completely being destroyed right now, by politicians and by economically, because there's no support for it. We're considering auctioning off the DIA, all the paintings in the DIA, which is a big part of our culture here. So not only is Detroit being destroyed economically and politically, but culturally we're suffering too.
I don't think it's the time for another war. I don't believe it serves the interests of the American people. I believe it's more corporate interests than anything. I have yet to see sufficient evidence of chemical weapons on the TV and news reports. They claim to have them. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. We created Al-Qaeda. We created all these conflicts in the Middle East by trying to overthrow governments and get who we want. Iran used to have a democracy decades ago, and then we came in, took out their democracy, put in a dictator. I definitely think people should get involved in the protest Monday. It will be a great way to demonstrate your political views, to raise awareness of the event for sure.
Why can't we just have peace, it's nothing else really that needs to be said, but this definitely doesn't need to happen.